We've got Porsche 944s on track now. Darren Smith here, Matt Dunlop right alongside me. Matt, any words out of the pit lane between races?
Welcome back everyone to the Porsche 944 coverage, and we've got a couple of cars who are up on jacks in the garage area between those two races. Bit of smoke on the track. I mentioned earlier was Peter James spinning off. He's only got second gear at the end of that race, but at the start of this race it's going to be Cameron Bella off pole position, having won race 1 this weekend. Adam Brewer will be starting from his career best second position after that race finish for him. Brad Winton, his comeback drive, is third for the Bradman Roofing car. Ken Rowland is in fourth position next to him on the grid. Anthony Westaway will start from fifth position next to Rob Holding. Those two had a fantastic battle all race 1. Michael Westaway is next to Mark Torbert's behind them. Richard Howe will be starting from 9th position next to Tony Andrzejewski in 10th. Peter Doherty will be starting from 11th. John Venoris will be 12th. P13 goes to Peter James with the issues I mentioned earlier, if he can get out there. And Jimmy Mitchell is 14th, having not finished the race, having not even started the race due to a control arm failure in qualifying. So hopefully we see all 14 cars on the grid. We'll have to wait and see what happens as they peel around to form up for the grid for the start of race 2, Darren.
Beautiful day, great panoramic shots across the property here at Winton Motor Raceway, Victoria. In fact, Australia's action racetrack always induces great racing here. A traditional racetrack in rural Victoria, and we always love coming here for the racing. Very much a great layout for going racing, and the Porsche 944 is the balanced car that Porsche put out all those years ago that's still being used so very, very well on a Yokohama control tyre, and have been for a very long time as well. Such stable rules, which is the secret to many categories, but certainly the 944s has been how stable the rule set is. So you can get yourself a car, you can build it, you know you're going to have that package for quite some time, often a very challenging way. A couple of spots vacant there behind Cameron Bella. We got some confusion as we're looking for...
it looks like we do. I think
bit of
Rob
confusion
Holding
as to their spots on the grid.
Yeah, I think Rob Holding took up the wrong spot on the grid, and as a result, all the drivers on the right-hand side were down one grid. But we're all settled now. Everyone's in their right positions. Jimmy Mitchell and Peter James will be taking the race start. So it's a full field of what looks to be 14 cars. The 5-second board's out. It's a front row drag race between Cameron Bella and Adam Brewer. The tension's building, the revs are rising, the red light is on, and they're away. They're underway at Winton. Great start from both of those guys. Oh, massive hog down there from the Ken Rowland, I think it was. Brad Winter is not on the grid, so Brad Winter has not started this race, so it is a 13-car field indeed.
Have a look at this. The Cameron Bella's jumped away nicely, but the battle is already with Winter, Rowland, Westaway, and a big jive out to the left there, and a car leaving pit lane there as well. I think that was the 22. No, it wasn't. Yeah, it was Brad Winter leaving the lane there. The two white, yellow, and black liveried cars here. The number 4 of Ken Rowland and Rob Holding there as well. They're sitting in 3 and 4 on the road. Rob Holding, a big mover, 2 spots off the start line, as is Mark Torberts. He came up to 6th place, started out of 8th. That's the black car right in the middle of screen behind the yellow one, blocking it out. Mark Torberts right there. What a good start. 2 spots in within half a dozen corners here at Winton, making every millimetre of this race count. That is the really good bit about these short, sharp races. 9 laps around Winton, it's a pretty quick race. And you've just got to make every corner matter, don't you?
That's absolutely right, especially at such a challenging track for the drivers as Winton is. It really shows, especially in the Porsche 944 Challenge, where all the cars are completely even in terms of mechanical terms. So it is the driver's ability that's really going to shine through here.
You touch on that. We've touched on it a couple of times. Here's a challenge as well.
Speaking of touching on, there's Tony Westaway touching on the back bumper of Rob Holding, resuming their battle from race 1.
A little bit of Craig Lowndes Morse code going on there, wasn't it? Letting him know, I'm right here. You make a move and you make a loop and I'm all over you. Pulls out of the slipstream immediately. So it's going to be the drag race. The white 944 with the yellow 944 ranging up alongside. They're not going to be able to go through turns 1 and 2 like that. The very challenging 1 and 2. Short little straight bit in between, which until you actually go round the track, it doesn't link well there. It's a tricky bit of track there between 1 and 2. It's a real challenge, and if you talk to any drivers, that they're always trying to get that little link there. It's not a traditional S shape, it's a tiny little bit of straight in between there. Very, very challenging to get yourself through there nicely. Touching on that the one-make type racing, the mechanical makeup of the 944, they are exactly the same. They've got a 4-cylinder Porsche engine. They've got that magnificent transaxle that they have in the back for that beautiful weight split. What else is it about these comps?
Yeah, they've all got a 2.5 litre single overhead cam slant 4 engine that produces about 120 kilowatts or 160 or so horsepower in the old money.
That's enough to get yourself into trouble too.
It certainly is, especially at a track like Winton here. That's more than enough to have a fantastic time. It is that 5-speed spec transaxle that you mentioned with an open differential, so that proves to be a little bit challenging for some of the drivers who are used to having a limited slip or a locked differential, of course. Yokohama A050 medium spec tyre, spec camshaft, suspension, brake pads, fuel, ECU. They're as close to identical as possible. The only real difference that you might tell between some of these cars is the noise, because the exhaust system is free past the headers. But there's not a huge amount that can be done there in terms of performance, as we see Rob Holding is still all over the back of Ken Rowland. A little bit of a wobble through turn 12 there, but he's still keeping it on the straight and narrow, as there's a little bit of a battle pack forming now. Adam Brewer still sits in second with Rowland right behind him in third.
Have a look at this. Adam Brewer hasn't been able to go with Cameron Bella. He's basically given up on that one, now having to defend. Have a look at this charge going through. This is 4th and 5th on the road. That's Holding and Westaway. Mark Torbert's again ranging in the background. In fact, he looks to challenge down the inside, not being able to do it, but he's got Michael Westaway now joining on. So we've got 7 or 8 cars in this battle for second place, basically. They're all lining up now behind Adam Brewer, Ken Rowland, Rob Holding, Tony Westaway, Mark Torberts, Michael Westaway. Next thing you know, we'll have Porsche's very own Tony Andrzejewski in the mix there. He's currently 8th on the road.
Yeah, it's a very good battle pack as Rob Holding gets a little bit wobbly on the brakes there, trying to get around the outside of, I think, Ken Rowland. He's not going to get it done there. But let's cross down to Emma Notafrancesco in the pit lane.
Just down in TCR land and Aaron Cameron, you made a few bold moves at the end of that last race, but I still managed to finish 6th. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. It was a tough race behind Tony the whole race, and bit of a brain fade. Don't know what I was really thinking, trying to go around the outside at the second last corner. So we'll tune the driver up for tomorrow's race and hopefully get a podium.
Thanks, Aaron. Good luck.
Thanks.
Thanks, Emma. Thanks, Aaron. Good luck tomorrow. Aaron Cameron, a young racer on the move. Tell you what, we've got some racers on the move. There goes the number 28. Down the inside goes Tony Westaway. Will he hang in there? Rob Holding goes to hold it back on and tags him. Around goes the 28. I would have to say probably his own fault. He tried to turn in on the nose that was in front of him there, but the 28 ultimately went round. Rob Holding just hanging on, and, well, you get one of those 5% chance manoeuvres that it's going to come off, and it always is the way. You can go from hero to zero very, very quickly, or the alternative, 0 to hero, and that's always the weighed up option, as we see the brand new Porsche stickers emblazoned across the top of these cars coming down to turn 3. Very tricky right-hander. Here it is again. Dive bomb by the 28. And, well, I tell you what, Rob Holding was still there. He was right in there. He probably should have given him the room there. A tiny little tag, really, a tiny little tag, but being unweighted, leaning over on the left-hand tyres, put him around.
Yeah, I think Tony Westaway was just a little bit too hot into turn 11 there, and he had the line on the outside, and Rob Holding should have been able to get through, but there was some unfortunate contact there. So the end result of that is that Tony Westaway has now dropped down to 6th position. No, I do believe he's down in, yes, he's in 12th, sorry. The timing screen is working a little bit faster than I am at this stage. Cameron Bell is still leading this race though, and the battle for second place is really hot at the moment. Ken Rowland he's ironed out those issues that he had in qualifying with that excessive understeer, and he's all over the back of Adam Brewer, hunting a second place finish.
I really think these guys are going to have to knuckle down and work with each other for the next 3 laps and try and see if they can bring that 5.5 second gap to Cameron Bell. You'd probably have to suggest with only 6 laps left to go that they're not going to be able to hook onto the back of him. But Cameron Bell just showing his class in the 944 field here this weekend. And I touched on just before the new stickers across the window, the Porsche banners, which over the years have had other sponsors like a Porsche part and various different people on there. Porsche Cars Australia, actually part of this series now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's fantastic. It was just announced just before the last state series ran at Sandown that the Porsche 944 Challenge is now a part of the Porsche Young Driver Development Program in Australia. So the state champion of the Porsche 944 Series, as a prize for winning the state championship, will receive a GT3 Cup track experience valued at $7,000. It's really a great experience for some of these, especially young up-and-coming drivers like Cameron Bella, to get out there in a quick bit of GT3 kit and have a spin around a track and see what they can do. And with the cars in this category being so cheap and easy to race and not having to fiddle around them too much to get them competitive on a track, this is shaping up to be a very good racing series for young drivers looking to make their mark on the Australian motorsport scene.
Yeah, I reckon it's a fantastic way. Porsche are very good at keeping that brand loyalty going, and if they can harness someone that is looking to possibly make a move into the Porsche Michelin GT3 Cup Challenge or something like that, Porsche will certainly find a way. They have one of the, well, I would say almost unsurpassed junior development program. There's a good send. That was a ripping manoeuvre there by Ken Rowland on Brewer. Lined him up nicely. It was almost like Brewer just nodded off the wheel there a little bit. In fact, he could have an issue because here comes Michael Westerway as well.
That's Rob Holding in fourth position, right on the back of Adam Brewer. He's having a look on the inside. I think he's a little bit too far back to get anything done into turn one, but he means business now, and this doesn't bode well for Adam Brewer. He might be dropping back to fourth position faster than the drop of a hat. Rob Holding is having another peek now into turn three. Not much he can do here, as we hear a big lock-up from one of those cars going to that corner.
Brewer now, there's a big challenge to the inside as we get a replay right on cue there. This is the number 4, Rowland getting down the inside. A nice manoeuvre, almost like I said, almost like Brewer nodded off at the wheel and got through very, very cleanly indeed. We go back to live pictures now.
And while we were away with that replay, Rob Holding did indeed get the job done and is now up into third position.
Brewer's got issues there. There's certainly issues. There's smoke coming out from the right-hand rear.
There looks
on
a
that car.
bit of smoke coming out of the back of Rob Holdings as well. I'm not sure if he's picked up some gravel somewhere.
Here we go. Here was that good move down into turn 4. Beautifully flowed that car through there. A good job by the number 97, Rob Holding. Just carried some great mid-corner out of turn 3. Again, it's one of those low percentage manoeuvres, but if you can flow the car and keep it gripped up nicely, really, really good move. That's a top move there by Holding, and at the end of the day, he gave Adam Brewer no other option, and that's the ultimate pass in motor racing. Get it done and give your fellow competitor no other option other than to let you go through.
Meanwhile, Tony Westaway in Jamie Westaway's old car is making his way back to the field. He's just got past the number 53 of Peter Doherty, and he's hunting down the rear of the number 46 Martini livery Jim Mitchell car, which of course had that issue in qualifying you may have seen earlier in the day where he lost a control arm and wasn't able to put a good time on the board, wasn't able to participate in race 1, but he's back here for race 2, as we now see Adam Brewer still in fourth position, still a very good result for him, but Rob Holding is now on track to get his first podium of the season for Porsche 944s. As they come into turn 5 now, there's a little bit of a gap up to Ken Rowland at the front there. Last timing sector, the gap was about 0.7 of a second. So that battle for second position has petered out just a little bit. So they're all just plugging away, trying to get fast laps in as Adam Brewer locks the wheel into the entry of turn 7, I believe that is.
That looks like, it's almost like he's got a brake bias problem there because he's switched it back. He's might be playing around with the bias in the car there, but that was on the right-hander. It was previously on the left-hander, so he might be just fiddling around trying to tune the car, and at the moment he's letting Holding get away. Certainly Rowland has got away, and Campbella. Is that fuel leaking out of the 97?
It looks like it out of the right rear corner of that bumper. I've seen something falling out of that car, and I'm not sure what it is. The fuel tank is, of course, located in that part of the car, so hopefully that's not a petrol leak happening there as he goes through the penultimate corner now.
Yeah, I would suggest that's fuel. It certainly looked very vapoury as it came out, but that's not ideal. In fact, this guy behind him will be getting that splashing up on the screen as we get a hot air balloon splashing up on our screen here, very locally, late in the afternoon to be flying around in your hot air balloon.
Bring a telescope or maybe even a strong pair of binoculars and got a fantastic view of the race.
I think I saw Shannons Insurance written on the side of that hot air balloon. Big thanks to Shannons Insurance, loyal sponsors for over a decade of the Shannons Nationals. We've got the Porsche 944s on track. Our last race for the day. They've got another couple of races tomorrow.
So the quickest sectors so far at the moment, the fastest lap, of course, is Cameron Bella, who's got a margin of 8.8 seconds. You just saw him fly past the front of the camera angle there. that's one of the only chances we've had to really look at Cameron Bella all race. He's that far ahead. Mind you, some of the best sectors we've seen have been from other drivers. Westaway's got the best, Tony Westaway that is, has the best sector 1 and 3 times, with Rob Holding currently holding it steady for sector 2 as he's all over the back of Ken Rowland, looking to continue that battle on and maybe make his way up into second position. It'll be a great result for him if he can do that. Like I said earlier, it will be his first podium of the season, and a second place will be a great result to show for it, as we see Cameron Bella now coming up towards turn 11 on the second last lap of his race. Just going past the curb there, he has a great line. He's one of the smoothest drivers in the field, and of course it shows in the amount of pace he's able to carry around every single ribbon of tarmac in this state that he's able to lay a car onto.
I tell you what, he's got the tyre working very nicely indeed. I wouldn't be surprised if he'd spent some time with Andrew and Shane at Traction Tyres just to get this Yokohama working very, very nicely indeed. It's the secret to performance in this type of racing. We see it in improved production and also in Formula Ford. When you work with the tyre engineers, there's that fluid again coming out of the 97 of Rob Holding. He's only got, well, we're on the final lap of the race now, so he's only got to get that home, but certainly be looking at the filler neck or an overflow or something like that on that car before tomorrow's racing.
You'll be hoping
it's very evident now.
You'll be hoping you put a little bit more in that fuel tank than you needed. There's been a few cases this season so far of drivers not putting enough petrol in their cars, most of the qualifying sessions and other practice runs, and conking out towards the end. That was an issue that Adam Brewer was having during this qualifying session, actually. He was a little bit worried if his engine performance was down at a higher res, which is just a matter of his engine choking because he didn't put enough in the tank. He is rolling around in 4th position at the moment with Michael Westaway pretty close to him now. So that margin's narrowed up quite a bit. You can see that orange number 45 right behind Adam Brewer there. So it's a pretty close pack between second of Rob Holding, Ken Rowland in 3rd, Adam Brewer in 4th with a little bit of smoke of his own coming out of the back wheel there, and Michael Westaway in 5th, but Cameron Bella is still charging ahead. He's got a gap of 10.2 seconds, which is a phenomenal margin for such a short race of only 9 laps. He's about to round the final corner now. He'll extend his lead of the Porsche 944 Club Championship and put another win on the board as he comes down the main straight now. The checkered flag is out and Cameron Bella wins race 2 by a margin of 10 seconds as we see, Michael Westaway's gone off at the penultimate corner. He's got a lot of dust coming off the back of that car and is now dropped behind Ken Rowland, who's had an excursion of his own. So it is Rob Holding who will cross the line in 2nd. Adam Brewer will be 3rd. Michael Westaway narrowly comes across the line in 5th, just 0.07 ahead of Ken Rowland. That's such a narrow margin.
And I tell you what, Cameron Bella, out of 5 race starts in the Porsche 944s as part of the Shannons National Support Program, he's had 5 race wins.
Dickie Howe coming across the line, only 0.05 of a second behind Tony Andrzejewski, but your race winner is Cameron Bella by a margin of 11.2 seconds, extending his lead of the round and the championship. Rob Holding gets his first podium this season in 2nd position. Great result from him, with Adam Brewer bringing up the podium spots in 3rd position. Michael Westaway, as a result of that off-track excursion there at the final lap, is finishing 4th, ahead of Ken Rowland, who came across the line in 5th position. Mark Torbitz was able to make up 2 spots to finish in P6, ahead of Tony Andrzejewski, who's done quite well there in 7th position. Richard Howe finishing in 8th, ahead of Peter James, who's got his gearbox issues sorted from race 1 and finished in 9th position. Anthony Westaway, after that incident earlier in the race, can only manage 10th, as we see Cameron Bella cruising around the track, cooling everything down and celebrating another win.